Oh, hey, Nick.
Hi, Tys. Hi. That was really loud. Hey.
I was pretty excited. Welcome to the show, ladies and gentlemen. It's episode number 94 of Nick, Tys and Videotape. We're closing in on episode 100. Episode 94, we're talking about a wonderful film from 1987. 1987?
It's not Bambi.
Yeah,
a
no,
wonderful
you're right.
film. It's a cult classic that me and Tys grew up with and loved. I'm sure everyone who was born after us hates it.
Look, you're probably right. I don't think many people think of it as fondly as people of our generation.
No.
We are talking, of course, of Masters of the Universe.
1987.
1987. Good year.
It was a good year.
The Dolph Lundgren starring...
Frank Langella.
Frank Langella doing his thing.
And Courtney Cox coming out of nowhere and ruining everything.
Oh, bless. No,
we'll get it back. We'll come back to that.
We will get into that. But, Nick, before we do anything, why don't you tell the people where they can find our show if it's their first time listening?
Oh, well, if it is your first time listening, hi, my name's Nick.
I'm Tys.
This is my friend Tys.
And I'm glad Masters of the Universe is what got you here.
If it is, you are definitely our audience.
Yeah, exactly.
If you saw it on Twitter, Instagram, or Facebook and went, oh, Masters, fantastic.
Yeah.
Welcome. Have a settle in.
Props to you.
While we're doing this introduction, this is your chance to, like, subscribe, rate, review, all of that stuff on iTunes, which is the one that helps us the most. But we are on every other podcast thing, which is TuneIn Radio, Stitcher, Podbean.
Yeah, just any of them.
Ones.
Whatever's on your phone, search old Nick, Tys and Videotape, and you'll get some love.
Exactly.
You can also track us down on Radio Public, an app which gives us a little bit of coin at the back end if you happen to listen to us on that platform.
True.
Which
you
is
don't even have
great.
to. You can download the app and then just subscribe, and then we do the rest.
That's it.
But apart from that, we are on every social media, like I just said, Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, and... we do have a email account, so if you would like to write us some correspondence, we are at nicktysandvideotape@gmail.com.
Yep.
I spell Nick N-I-C and Tys is T-Y-S.
That's correct.
We're also on YouTube.
We are also on YouTube.
So
you can find us anywhere.
join in.
Literally anywhere.
Join in on the fun.
I say...
you say. I say, you say, let's talk some trailers.
Good call.
Everybody's talking
Trailers. That was good.
I liked it. No, keep that in.
That was swift.
It was swift.
Yeah.
I liked it. Tys, let's start with DeLorean.
Okay.
Yeah.
Are you surprised that a feature film hasn't been made about your dad and his life?
Yeah. He's got cocaine, hot chicks, sports cars, bombed out buildings, Margaret Thatcher, Ronald Reagan, FBI agents, and hardcore drug dealers.
Allow me to introduce the DeLorean motor car.
A number of people have been wanting to do a movie of my life.
I'm going to try to be DeLorean.
John DeLorean was the leading man Hollywood producers dream of, and he was real.
He was one of the maverick rogues of his day.
What the hell is this?
That's the GTO.
You're out of your damn mind.
He married the world's top supermodel.
My dad was at the peak of everything, and then came the car.
This is the DeLorean Motor Company.
It's impossible to start up a car company.
This is real innovation.
And you've got the money for this?
Oh, yeah.
John didn't have the money.
We were heading for insolvency.
John DeLorean is in jail this morning.
I just found out a few hours ago. I know nothing.
Stability and sanity left the household when he got arrested.
When John puts all the chips on the table and loses, you have to play music while everything collapses around him. It's like da na 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 na.
You start to see another side of John.
You did sell your soul.
He is either a beleaguered man or he was the greatest con man to ever come down the pike.
They've set up an innocent man.
When does DeLorean get to a point where he could have turned back?
How far would you be willing to go to save your life's dream?
Now, I have this in my head as Finding DeLorean, like Finding Forrester, but it is not.
It's not
called that.
It's not Finding Forrester.
It's called.
Jesus. Oh, Jesus. Sorry, everyone.
Framing John DeLorean.
Framing John DeLorean.
Now,
there we go.
This is a documentary / like narrative fiction / reenactment.
Yep.
/ behind the scenes making of. It's a weird kind of experimental.
It's a first of its kind.
Yeah, I guess so.
I like it.
So obviously, if the name is kind of ringing alarm bells for you, it's because of the famous car, the DeLorean sports car that was featured so prominently in Back to the Future.
Yep. See episode
92, I think.
92. Yeah. 2 episodes ago.
And so. In a lot of people's minds, that's really the only reason they know the name DeLorean.
That's true.
So it appears as though that the man himself was quite an interesting character.
Yeah. I knew nothing of him.
No. Look, I knew
the company went bust, and I knew that it was they only made a certain amount of DeLoreans.
The car was not responded to well. It was not a success in any way, commercially or critically.
It wasn't well made or anything like that.
No, and so obviously when something like that happens, it's a massive kind of tumble from the heavens, and it seems to me like this character, this John DeLorean, the guy that invented the car, was maybe a bit of a kind of
trying to be like not a Hugh Hefner, but
Richard Branson-y kind of entrepreneur.
Yeah.
And so his fall from grace appears to be a story worth telling.
Yeah.
And now it's interesting that they've decided, played by Alec Baldwin, who looks fucking great in the trailers.
He looks
exactly like him.
Done up like really plasticized, like 80s style, like really plastic.
Well, this guy is like awesome. the grey hair and the really dark eyebrows and the very, very like piercing eyes.
Yeah.
They've done a great job recreating.
He looks like something off Days of Our Lives. Or something like that. Like he would fit in there.
And so we have this kind of, we have this mix of where we're going to see archival footage of the man himself and the stories that surround it. We're also going to see reenactment footage with starring, Alec Baldwin, Monica Baccarin as well as in it from Firefly and Deadpool.
Yeah. You're going to see interviews with family members and things like that.
Yes, exactly. So Talking Head style doco.
Talking about him and what happened in the car and what happened after that.
And also we'd get behind-the-scenes interviews with the actors playing the characters, talking about how they're inhabiting the characters and what they're trying to bring to these reenactments.
How should I play this?
Yeah. Which I think it's all over a really interesting way to tell the story.
Yeah.
I think the story itself could exist just as a documentary because it seems like it would be quite interesting. But they, seem to be taking it to a kind of metatextual level by having the film itself commentate on the process of making the film, while also telling the story,
running the film at the same time.
So I'm kind of keen.
I like it. Yeah, I like it.
For this.
Try something different. Don't do a doco.
Exactly.
Don't do a biopic. Like Bohemian Rhapsody, which Tys is a massive fan.
Favorite film, 2018.
Lies. So I like that this is something different, and I'm a big fan of the car, the DeLorean, which we've mentioned before. But I'm going to watch it just for that.
It could be mechanically the worst thing in the world. I would happily own one in a heartbeat.
I'd own 5.
Yeah, exactly. I'd drive it exclusively for the rest of my life.
Exactly.
If one broke down, I'd just get another one. If it was at all possible.
I would have a mechanic that I would go to and go, hi, you're going to help me make sure that this is... Yeah, me again. Yeah, hi.
Yeah, I'm going to pay happened again.
Yeah. Exactly. I'm just going to keep churning him out.
You're going to make a fortune out of me, buddy. Don't worry about it. I'm keen to see this, Nick. I think it's a really cool idea.
Okay.
Yeah, I'm all about it. And it's something I'm very interested because it seems like his life was really kind of crackers.
Yeah, because you got a lot of, there was a bit of the movie Blow, kind of a fall from grace. There was cocaine and models and things like that. And then all of a sudden FBI comes into it and you're like, what?
Imagine if Richard Branson
into?
Was up to some really shady shit. Like, what a great kind of
I think he's a poor man's Richard Branson, though. I think you put it, saying that he's a Richard Branson is a...
But could you imagine the story that you could tell if Richard Branson got arrested one day for people smuggling and racketeering and extortion and it would be something else. What a story to tell. And so this is maybe it's probably, you're right, it's the poor man's version, but it still is quite an interesting story because he seems to have painted, it's almost like it was self-inflicted. He viewed himself as this entrepreneurial genius.
Yeah, which in reality he was bankrupt and was going
and was doing some really dodgy shit. So I'm quite interested to see this, Nick. I think it's going to be really fun.
Well, that's why, on that topic, that's why I think, I'm thinking of real people's lives and how they went from like top of the mountain. We're talking Everest height of success to just a face plummet down. The first person that I think of is Armstrong.
Lance Armstrong. I was about to say Neil Armstrong.
Not Neil.
I'm like,
not
hang
Neil.
on.
Not Neil.
He literally fell from
grace.
Fell from the heavens.
No, Lance, because that was a massive. And I still want to watch those films,
even though I've heard they're pretty.
I've heard
awful.
I've heard they're poxy, but I want to give them a shot because I think that'd be a fun story to tell, especially if you look into interviews. He was a character. He was definitely a character.
I agree.
Yeah.
Should we move on, Nick? So the next one we're going to talk about, we finally have a full trailer.
This is just fucking laughable.
Yeah.
We're going to talk Aladdin.
We are.
Let's talk Aladdin.
You stumbled upon an opportunity. I can make you rich. Rich enough to impress a princess. What would I have to do? There's a cave of wonders. Bring me the lamp.
O great one who summons me, I stand by my oath, loyalty to wishes 3. I'm kidding. Watch this.
Watch out! You done wound me up. You ain't never had a friend like me.
Hey, can you make me a prince?
There is a lot of gray area in Make Me a Prince. I could just make you a prince.
Oh, no.
Y'all see my palace?
You look like a prince on the outside, but I didn't change anything on the inside. Showtime.
All right, Nick. So here we are.
Good Lord.
So we've already talked about the teaser trailer.
A little bit of a tease. Sure. We get a little bit more now.
Now we get more because we've got a full-length trailer.
We get some Jafar. We get some Raja.
Jafar played by quite a young actor
quite a young
as well.
Man, yeah. I don't know who he is.
I feel like it's different from how it's portrayed in the cartoon.
I like the Jafar as a character is one of my favourite Disney villains. I love him. I think he's great.
What is it about Jafar that you love?
Oh, I don't know.
He's quite evil.
Because he's a withered old man. That's why.
Yeah.
And he's just, if you look at it as an adult, he's disgusting. He's gross.
Sure.
He wants, well, you know what? I'll make Jasmine marry me, even though I'm an old man and she is like 20 years my younger. And I don't know, he's a gross old man. But I love him.
You're not wrong.
I love him though.
He's a great character. Interesting that they've gone younger with him for this time.
Yeah.
Which kind of, I think, goes against kind of the...
It goes against the story a little.
The relationship that between him and the Sultan.
Yeah.
Which I thought was kind of key to the original one, but I don't know.
Who knows?
Who knows? But
look,
the more they show me of this film, the less interested I am.
Yeah. And that's sad for me. Like, yours is The Lion King. Like, they did this to your Lion King. Like, this is what's happening to me. Not that I have an interest in live-action Disney. I actually don't from the start. I watched The Jungle Book, but that's only because Sam was like, hey, let's watch The Jungle Book. I was like, okay, but, I know The Jungle Book backwards. Let's give it a watch.
Yeah, and it was fine.
It's neither here nor there for me. Aladdin, you're kind of fucking with me.
Yeah, for sure.
So for me, you're not going to... And I know that everyone's like, well, this is, have the opinion of, this is for another generation, or this is going to open up people to something else, and we've got a bit of money here, so let's show what we can do with the live action. To me, you're not going to beat hand-drawn. When was the original? I want
to say 91.
91?
I could be wrung.
You're not going to beat hand-drawn 91 amazingness
92.
with Robin Williams in there. You're not going to beat that. So unfortunately for me, and what I said off air kind of makes sense. Like, when they did the Lion King casting, they were like, okay, well, we're clearly not going to beat James Earl Jones as Mufasa, so let's not change that. Let's get him again. Obviously, they can't get Robin Williams back.
No,
but maybe we shouldn't touch this.
Maybe that's a good enough reason to say, yeah, look, we're
going to give it a pass, unless you can recast that as someone with who will bring something a little different, which he does. Will Smith does, but I'm not picking up what you're putting down.
No, and he's very unsettling in his blue form, and then maybe they're going to get him more in like human form,
which you got in that trailer.
Which we get in the trailer.
Yeah, you do get that a bit.
You know, what's the point? I guess I don't know. The more I see it, the more I'm just not involved. I think the action looks really. Like it looks super, super green screeny, which is look. I mean, we're not. You know, I'm not a fucking idiot. When I know we're not actually on flying.
We're not going to see a fucking genie.
Yeah, exactly.
But there is a difference between
carpet.
Exactly.
But just the world just does not look in any way lived in. Like it looks completely fake.
There's a realistic element to it, like say The Last Jedi, which you can feel. It's a tangible thing. Like you can see those rooms and you're like, okay, no, this is a world that we could live in even though we are in space.
Yeah.
You know, whereas this, you're like, well, that just looks...
And look, CGI environments, I'm not completely against when that's all that you have to offer. But for me, like looking at some of these shots, it's just kind of like, I can tell that there's not a single thing about this shot that is real.
Yeah, but the Jungle Book was the same.
Jungle Book was
all the same.
Yeah, but Jungle
Book, no jungle there.
I feel like it was because the only human character was Mowgli.
Mowgli, yeah.
Mowgli, thank you.
That's right.
You kind of got away with that. I think as soon as you inhabit it with human characters, I start to be far more judgmental of the world, of the creation of the world. I don't know. And then they started singing and it sounds auto-tuned to fuck, like over-compressed, overproduced. And I was just like, ugh.
Yeah, man,
like,
it's Disney.
I'm not interested in this.
You're going to get it. It's going to be Gleified.
It is. That's exactly it. It sounds Gleified.
Yeah.
I don't know, man. I'm not feeling it.
Jafar is Marwan Kanzari. He was in, which I still haven't seen, which we talked up massively when it came out, and we still haven't got it, I think, is What Happened to Monday. Netflix original. Remember that?
Yeah.
Did we get that? We didn't.
Not on Netflix.
We had to...
It was available on Foxtel, I think.
Well, who the fuck has Foxtel? I mean, honestly. If you have Foxtel, get rid of it. Get Netflix. So, yeah, he was in that, and he's in the Ben-Hur remake, which no one saw, and then the Murder on the Orient Express.
Cool.
But, it's... Look, I can't wait to see this thing just bomb.
It's going to be the biggest movie of the year. What are you talking about? It's not going to bomb at all.
It is going to bomb. It is going to be massive. Hang on a minute. Hang on, wait. Does this come out this year?
Yeah.
Does Lion King come out this year?
Yeah.
Oh, well, there you go. You got one bomb and one amazingness.
I can't see this bombing, to be honest.
How can you not see this bombing?
I think it's going to do really well.
You think it's going to do just as good as Beauty and the Beast? If
I think it could universally get like 1-star reviews, and I think it'll be fine.
But everyone's going to love it. Okay. All right. Well, Aladdin.
There it is.
Jeez. Really though? Aladdin? Really though? Oh, God.
And Aladdin's short, man. Aladdin is short. Are they going to try and stretch this thing out to
man. I saw like a fucking Lord of the Rings eagle in there. I'm like, when did that happen?
If this thing is even like close to 2 hours, I'm going to be fuming.
Do I have a running time? I bet you I have a fucking running time already. Wait. I don't have a running time. Damn it! I don't have.
Because correct me if I'm wrong.
Sure.
I think the first Aladdin, I'm going to say 82 minutes.
Oh, really?
I'm going to look it up right now.
All right. 93 by the... Oh, no.
It's bang on an hour and a half. So you take out the credits, and we're talking 80 minutes.
Bang. Take out the credits. God, it was good. It was so good. And look at that. Look at that cover. Look at that thing, man. And so can I just add just one more thing? Does Guy Ritchie bring anything to this for you? With his name under the chair.
I like Guy Ritchie, don't get me wrong.
I love Guy Ritchie.
I don't think he's the right choice for this material, which is why I'm kind of in two minds about it to begin with. I don't think what Guy Ritchie does well, which I suppose we could call, he has very high energy.
English gangster.
Yeah, he does that kind of, English gangster, but not like, that's not fair just to completely narrow him into that. I think,
of course not. His Sherlocks were a bit of fun. I didn't mind his Sherlocks.
I think kind of quirky, high energy, contemporary influenced storytelling. Like, so even if he tells a classic story, something like a period piece like Man from U.N.C.L.E. or King Arthur or anything like that, whether or not you like King Arthur or not is kind of relevant to the discussion.
Full pass.
He has an ability to inject kind of like a contemporary energy into it. It's kind of kinetic, it's flashy, and look, there might not be a thing, and in certain circumstances it works well. I think in this kind of environment where I do not want to see that in an Aladdin movie.
No. You want to see flowy. It's got to flow. It's got to move.
Yeah. It should almost feel like
a magic
like real classic Hollywood.
Yeah, man. Big ballroom scenes and things like that. Not that you have that in Aladdin. I'm talking about Cinderella. But, you're talking about big...
But like Lawrence of Arabia style.
Of the Arabian Nights and things like that. Come on.
And that's not just because it has Arabia in the title. I was thinking of Middle Eastern kind of epics. You know what I mean? Where it's just it's all about kind of classic Hollywood storytelling, where it's you're overtaken by the kind of grandeur of these shots.
Yeah.
Not like. I don't want it all in my face. Like weird kind of. Then some of
cuts. His cuts are always. There's always in his movie. It'll slide up.
Oh, he's not doing any of that.
He's not doing any of that. There's none of that editing in
happen.
this. Yeah. Well, let's not count him out just yet. Yeah.
Let's see.
Aladdin.
Ugh. All right.
That fucking poster. Just a waste of time.
Yeah, someone on Facebook pointed out just how similar it is to the original Force Awakens poster.
Oh, yeah.
And they're not wrong.
That's just awful.
Yeah, it's a terrible poster. And I swear to God, I thought we were past the cayenne and orange thing. Like,
no, never.
Yeah, we get it, buddy. You got a color wheel at home. Like, it's you call yourself a fucking designer. It's time to move on.
Oh, jeez. Let's move on, and let's do that.
And let's also move on.
Let's also move on to our feature presentation.
Yeah.
That was some nice segue there.
It wasn't bad, eh?
And now for our feature presentation.
At the far end of the universe, there is a planet ruled by a being of utter evil. And there is only one man who dares challenge him. They are locked in a battle to the death. A battle that will take them across the heavens.
Stop him!
A battle that will finally be fought.
I want them hunted down and brought to me!
Across the face.
Police! Nobody move!
Of Earth.
I think I'm gonna need some backup.
Can you show us the way?
Of course. No.
From a distant galaxy, they have come to Earth. Dolph Lundgren as He-Man. Frank Langella as Skeletor. Only they have the powers to be. Masters of the Universe. Live the adventure.
All right. Before we go any further,
sure.
I'm going to mention, because it's getting ridiculous.
No, it's not. They're not going to notice.
No, they will notice. I have some dental issues at the moment.
Tyson has hurt his tooth.
I've hurt my tooth. I currently have something on it just to stop it from hurting a little bit too much.
So if you hear him talk less,
and so I feel a little bit silly because every now and then I can't talk properly, and I'm like, well, surely they noticed that.
Fine. They didn't notice at all.
Well, now they'll notice.
Well, now they have.
They will have a reason to. And it'll be like, oh, well, that's okay then. We don't have to give him a hard time, or sit there and weirdly thinking, does Tyson have a lisp?
Is that Tyson? Is there a
He always had a lisp. I'm going to have to go back and listen. We could have got more listens. People would have gone back and listened to it. So fucked it. Anyway, so that, yes, full disclosure.
Full disclosure.
Something's wrong with my fucking teeth again. Nicholas, we're talking Masters of the Universe.
Masters of the Universe.
It's 1987.
1987.
Nicholas, tell me about your He-Man collection. I know you had some rad He-Man toys.
How the fuck did you know that? Did I tell you before?
No,
I told you before.
We're kindred spirits, my man, and if I had them, I reckon you had them.
Fuck yes. I had Castle Grayskull, Tyson.
Yeah, so did I.
had Snake Mountain, Tyson.
Oh, I didn't have Snake.
I had Snake, and it was by far the better. You could pick up the thing and like talk into the mic and do that into the mic. It was so good. It was so good. I loved it.
Into the mic? What are you talking about?
there was a little mic thing that you got with Castle Grayskull, and you made the voice talk at the front. No, He-Man, you can't come in. It was so good. Anyway, I had Battle Cat. I had them all, Tys. I had them all.
Battle Cat.
Battle Cat. I had Orko. You pulled his string and he shot off. I
don't think I had Orko.
I like that thing. And then, and this is fine. I understand. And then people grow up. I turned into a teenager. Yeah. I still had them all the way through high school. I never played with them, obviously, because I was interested in the female form at that point. And then I went to uni. I went to uni, and now my parents had my stuff. Came back, and I was like, oh, yeah, that's decent. And I was talking to my brother. I was like, hey, what about this? Did we have this? Let's get them down. Let's have a look. Hey, Mum, where's my He-Mans? Hey, Mum. Where the fuck is my He-Man?
Conspicuously silent.
And I'm like, Mum, what's going on? She's like, you don't play with him. I'm like, not the point. Not the point.
Not the point at all.
I will have children at some stage, yes?
Yeah.
They're not going to play with your He-Mans, Nick. Not the point.
No. And look, to be quite honest.
But everything, Tys. We're talking Grayskull. We're talking Snake Mountain. We're talking everything is gone.
Yeah. That's sad. Tale as old as time, Nicholas, because that is what happens, my man.
It is. Unless you look after your shit. But I don't think my son is going to play with figures the way that we played with figures. Like, are figures a thing? Like, I don't think they are at all.
To a lesser degree.
Yeah?
Yeah, but...
They're not... Like, doing the research for this, I rewatched the toys that made us...
Oh, yeah,
I rewatched that, the He-Man one of that, because it has a little bit about the film in there. And He-Man, back in its day, man, we're talking mid to early 80s, this thing was $1 billion company.
Which is kind of wild to think about, really.
Billions. Toys. What the Jesus Christ.
Because what have we had comparable?
Nothing.
Nothing, really.
No.
Ninja Turtle toys were
They were pretty
ridiculous.
Big. They were pretty big.
But for, like, I suppose Tamagotchi and maybe Pokemon.
Pokemon, is that a thing?
And, like, Yu-Gi-Oh! Trading cards. So it's kind of gone into that...
We're taking on.
We sound so old.
Sound so old.
What are these things? This Yu-Gi-Oh!
Digimon? No, you're saying it wrong. It's fucking Pac-Man, you dumbass.
What is a Digimon, son? Oh, sounds wonderful.
Tamagotchi. Yeah, I know what that is. And don't come near me. It goes zzz, 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 and you have fun with it. I know what that is. Get away from me, Grandpa.
What about fidget spinners? Do they count?
No. They are a thing. But fidget spinners I put in the same category as yo-yos. Like, they're not going to take off, but yo-yos were a thing, and they'll come back and back.
Fidget spinners won't come back.
No, fidget spinners.
Because you can't do anything with a fidget spinner. Like, you literally can't do anything with it.
You haven't Googled fidget spinner tricks.
Yeah, but it's not the same.
Google the fidget spin tricks. Oh, come on, man. My nephew, he can...
If it gets to the point where I'm watching fucking fidget spinner tricks on YouTube,
fucking kill
that's
me.
it. I'm done. Pack it in.
But He-Man got to a stage where it was out of this world. He-Man was doing bigger than Barbie, and that was a massive
huge
deal. So yeah, and then it was unfortunately that this movie came out on the decline of He-Man. That this movie came out as a way to boost sales.
Sure,
and they knew that. And this is not a movie that had a script off the bat. Didn't have a director. No one was sitting around a boardroom going, "Hey, you know how to make money? A fucking He-Man movie." No. They said, no, we need to put something out. Let's do stuff. Let's do a live action. Who have we got?
Sure.
You know? And it was a scramble together.
And well, to go to Canon Pictures for that is really, or you must be scraping the bottom of the barrel because, look, don't get me wrong, I love Canon. I absolutely love them. Some of their 80s and early 90s, were they around by the early 90s?
Yeah.
Maybe just in the arse end of it?
Just in the arse end of it, yeah. Some of my favourites, man.
Some of my favourites too came from Canon. Whenever I saw that logo, I kind of knew I was in for a good time. You know, Golan and Globus, though, they were bonkers. They were just bonkers. And so, yeah, you know that I think there's a certain kind of expectation when you sit down and watch this movie that it was never going to be like Warner Brothers Pictures presents Masters of the Universe. You know what I mean? Where you know, the way the way Warner took on something like Batman or and Superman.
Yep.
You know, that kind of prestige that came to it. Like Mario Puzo is not writing the screenplay to Masters of the Universe.
Mario Puzo, known for The Godfather.
Yeah, for writing The Godfather.
Yeah.
Who came on to write fucking Superman.
Sure, I'll do Superman. Yeah.
So there's a certain expectation when you sit down to watch Masters of the Universe.
Exactly.
But I am going to go and say...
Oh, yep. Here we go.
That I've seen this movie a lot, but it has been a few years since I've seen it.
Uh-huh.
I think I sat down thinking I would only enjoy it for nostalgic reasons.
Sure.
And I think I might have enjoyed it for actual reasons.
Right.
Yeah, I think it's not bad. I think it's got a really bad rep, and I'm not sure it deserves it.
Really?
Yeah.
Okay.
It's not wonderful. And it's not a very I think
in the scope
comparable.
of Marvel, where are you putting it?
It doesn't touch any of that kind of stuff.
Yeah.
But, I would put it on par with some of these kind of less successful genre comic book toy films.
Okay.
So even though this is based on a toy, a toy line, I think it has more in common with comic book properties than it does, say, Clue, for instance.
Sure.
If I had to, do you know what I mean? I'm trying to think, I don't think it's fair to compare it to other toy and board game films.
Okay. So G.I. Joe, Rise of the Cobra, 2009, it's kind of different.
I think I'd watch this before I'd watch G.I. Joe again, for sure.
For starters, I'd never seen it. And secondly, G.I. Joe was never my man.
Yeah.
It was the same as Schwarzenegger and Stallone. You're either G.I. Joe, you're He-Man. You can't have both.
What else have we got? What else is... They haven't made a movie out of Mask.
Transformers.
Which I would happily watch this before any of the Transformers. I think this is a far better movie
on,
than...
that first Transformers was not that
Transformers
bad.
is fine.
Come on.
But...
it's Michael Bay insaneness.
Yeah.
But this you're getting... I know what you're saying. But for me, when I watch this, which... I watched the makings of, and there's a Netflix. I'll bring it up in a minute, but there's a Netflix doco that's concentrates a lot. It's instead of the toys thing that goes for 45 minutes that I've talked about, the Toys That Made Us series. There's an actual. It's just Masters of the Universe, and it's an hour and a half just concentrated on He-Man, and they go way into depth more. They even get Dolph and Frank to talk about it, and
This is on Netflix.
This is on Netflix.
I'm bummed I didn't get the chance to watch that before this, because that feels like something that would have been very very informative.
It's a good watch. It'd be good for us because this is aimed at us. But me going and watching this after watching those things, I look, and the nostalgicness is there for me. It's just I'm seeing missed opportunities. I'm still on board.
100%.
It's just I'm seeing missed opportunities.
No. And I agree. There's missed opportunities all over the place.
Yeah.
And I feel like it's more often than not, it's not creative missed opportunities. I think it's budgetary, and I think it's
correct, yeah.
Production woes. Like this, we all know that it was constantly cutting budget.
Yeah.
Anything produced by Canon is basically a fucking shitstorm anyway. So scenes that were written have to get thrown out at the last minute.
Yeah.
They have to figure out, okay, well, we're going to have to do this, so let's figure out how we're going to make this work in the movie.
Yeah.
Which
is spot on the money. Spot on the money. They go into detail of how, that last He-Man Skeletor battle, that was choreographed. Frank and Dolph had set it out. They were ready to go. Last minute, cut, get Frank's stunt double in. We don't have time to shoot this. Let's go get it done in.
And I heard months later as well, because they were basically no, we can't afford to keep shooting.
No, stop.
And this in that situation, and we're jumping straight to the finale.
We are.
I actually think that creative restriction made for a more interesting visual element. I actually really enjoy.
I like that.
It's shot in shadows with just kind of neon backlighting. Yeah. So I think you get a really kind of dynamic...
yes, I agree with you, but wouldn't you have liked it to have gone longer?
It probably could have gone a little bit longer.
Yeah?
Yeah, but, so in certain circumstances, I think the budgetary kind of cuts forced them to be more creative.
Yeah.
And I think this movie is full of creativity. That is one of the things that I really stick up for it. I think the production design, especially of the throne room, is outstanding. It's really great. It seems to be a mixture of matte painting and live, actual set.
That throne room?
Yeah.
No, that was a live set. They built that shit.
Yeah, but in order to get the depth, further depth of it, it seems like there's paintings involved and stuff like that.
How good?
But it looks so good.
Now that you've mentioned that first shot of Grayskull in that matte painting.
Oh,
that's a matte painting. God, that's good.
That's classic.
That is so good. I love that painting.
Yeah.
That is a scary Grayskull, man. And this is why, like, I'm a big fan, but it goes, like, He-Man goes to Earth. I'm not on board. I wanted it. Give me an Eternia, man. I love Eternia.
And that's a big part of it too. Is that due to the budget, they couldn't film an entire movie in Eternia. There was just no way to do it. So how do we make a movie and slash that budget in half? Let's send them to Earth.
Yeah.
Some of the stuff that happens on Earth, though, I find pretty great.
Some of it. Yeah.
I think the idea of the cosmic key is really cool. Like, I like the design of the cosmic key. I like that it's powered by tones.
Of course, you would like this.
Okay, but being a sucker.
The sounds that it makes though are so badass.
It's like the greatest 80s synth ever.
Yeah.
And being a big fan of 80s music.
You can't not.
I'm a fan of how they've incorporated something so unbelievably specific to the 80s, like that heavy synthesizer kind of 80s sound, into a plot device. I'm kind of like, this is great.
Yeah.
I love the way that they talk about him as a musician, and it's like, oh, are you a song maker? Or what is it? And they're like revered as these
Really? This is why you're liking this?
I'm just saying.
This is not He-Man.
No, I'm just saying these are ideas that I find kind of fascinating, because it's like, well, we need to put it on Earth.
Yep. What can we do?
How can we introduce fantasy elements into it while we're on Earth? And I kind of dig it. I think there's some cool stuff going on.
Okay. Question.
Yeah.
Skeletor has stormtroopers. That wasn't a thing.
No.
He has an abundance of stormtroopers.
No. And did you read the reason why?
No.
So because Mattel had this is all coming from random reading and things, so take it with a grain of salt.
Yeah.
But Mattel had a condition on the movies that He-Man could not kill anybody.
Yeah, that was a big thing.
Yeah.
And Dolph talks about that it's called Power of Grayskull, the Netflix thing that I'm talking about. And
so in order
he goes, they hand me this sword, he goes, are you telling me I'm not allowed to kill people with this thing?
Yeah.
How the hell am I going to do it? And
exactly.
I go, use it as a shield. Use it as a shield and just deflect the lasers that they shoot at you.
And well, I didn't realize, but these stormtroopers are meant to be robots.
Right.
Yeah. And so he can cut down and mow down as many of them as he likes, because they're not actual robots. People.
Nice.
And he doesn't kill anybody else. Yeah. Doesn't even really kill Skeletor.
No, it's
one of those.
I hate him. It's a movie thing that always happens. Let's kill the bad guy by throwing him off the edge.
Yeah, but not even like he blocks one of his shots and then he tries to just parry and it just kind of
yeah.
It's almost like his own fault for not being like
steady with his feet.
Yeah.
It hurts me. It so hurts me.
Yeah, which is but having said that, I don't want to watch a He-Man movie where he's cutting down dudes. Like, that's not really what it is either.
It's not He-Man. In a cartoon, he never used his sword.
Yeah.
No. I will give now the reason that I do watch this and why I will rewatch this again is Frank Langella. I watch this for Skeletor because, and in watching the Power of Grayskull, the docker, I'm going to get the right name. Frank said, if I'm going to do this, I would like to rewrite my lines. Power of Grayskull, it is called that. I would like to rewrite my lines. So he sat down with the writers and the director and went, okay, I want to say this and this here and this and this here. And you get that. Like, this character is so well thought out and so the nuances of this character are so beautiful. The fact that at the start of the scene, I'm talking about the whipping scene where he whips He-Man.
Yeah.
He tells him to let loose on him. By the end of that scene, he is cowering behind his staff and he's like scared of what's happening and he's like, stop, and he's kind of distraught with what's happening in front of his face. And the line that he comes out with, He-Man, tell me about the loneliness of good. Is it the same as the loneliness of evil? Who writes that, man? This is not He-Man. That's Shakespeare right there.
Yeah.
It's so good.
I wrote that down as well because I was just kind of like, we're watching this ridiculous movie and then the most profound analysis of the nature of good and evil.
Comes
and
out.
something that all really like heavy comic books have all delved into, that idea of, the complete isolation of being a protector.
Yeah.
And all that kind of, and it's just like a throwaway line in this. He throws it out once and everyone just stops and goes, wow, man. And then the movie just keeps going.
I know, right?
I found it so
good.
bizarre that I was just, I couldn't stop. I couldn't help but not mention it.
I love it.
He's something else. He's really doing excellent work. It's when he's letting loose, it's so just like it's impossible not to watch.
Yeah.
You're so captured by him. And yeah, you're right. You can feel that, like, he wanted to make it more theatrical and really go to these grand, just ridiculously poetic kind of dialogue.
Yeah, some Shakespeare shit he's coming out with.
It is, and it's like, and one of the other lines he pinched from Richard III or something. But that's great.
It's so good. It brings so much weight to that character. Because if you look at it, like, everyone was kind of pissed off, whereas Skeletor in the cartoon is, He-Man, you boob. He's that really campy guy who falls over his own feet because he's not any good. Whereas this was like, no,
he's a real threat.
He's a real threat.
100%.
Yeah. Which I love, man.
Yeah, and look, it's definitely due to Frank Langella's really great performance.
And the makeup, man.
Look, the makeup is great. It feels kind of limiting. Like, I feel
Really?
like a lot of the face makeup, and you look at Gwildor, and
there's no lip pronounce. There's no
you don't get
pronouncing.
Yeah. It seems like it was pretty restrictive. But at least he does make it work, and at least it keeps his eyes quite fluid. Yeah. There's no restriction there, so I mean, you do get to see a majority of the performance. I think Gwildor gets kind of hard done by because he's basically just this smiling thing with weird kind of like plate cheeks that don't move really much at all.
No,
and if you were trying to discern what they were saying by watching their mouths move, not necessarily having to lip read, but say you would just kind of, when if you miss a line of dialogue because it's a little bit quick or a little bit under, it's a bit muffled.
Yeah,
you can sometimes just, your brain pieces it together based on what you've seen.
What you've seen.
There's none of that going on. You'd have to turn on the subtitles for some of this.
Yeah.
Especially and also Dolph Lundgren, because his broken English is pretty interesting at points.
Come on, man. What are you talking about? He-Man.
Yeah. Look,
how good is He-Man? Let's talk about He-Man. Do you rate the Dolph? Because I didn't know, this is like his second film after Rocky. His first film was Rocky.
Yeah.
Second was He-Man.
I think he's pretty good. Yeah. I think he does what he's meant to do. He definitely looks the part. Like, I was trying to think of an actor now that I would like to see in that part.
He-Man.
And it's a tough gig it's really tough shoes to fill because we don't really have a lot of those real...
Channing Tatum?
But as soon as you put the blonde hair on them...
Yeah.
Like, it's a different ballgame.
Yeah, it's a hard gig.
I mean...
It's not an easy gig.
Look, and I never would have picked Hemsworth for Thor, but now I'm like, oh, well... You just need another Hemsworth.
That's true. Oh, Hemsworth. There you go. He-Man.
Yeah, but it'd be so weird. It's too Thory. Exactly.
You're like, oh, there's Thor.
We can't use any of his brothers, though. That would also be weird. So we need someone like that.
For his brothers.
Yeah. That's them. Well,
Liam Hemsworth.
Liam's doing all right.
Who gives a shit, man? Well, not really. He's got a mole on his face the size of a Miley Cyrus. It's disgusting.
Yeah, but they're rich and successful. They won't struggle a day in their lives.
Full pass. I'd rather be dirt poor.
You can be the other brother then.
I'll be the other brother.
Yeah.
What does he do? He's
not
just a surfer.
He tries an act.
Is he on Neighbours?
Yeah. I don't know. Yeah, he might have had a stint.
Good on him.
Good on him.
Yeah.
I like
He-Man?
Dolph.
You like Dolph?
He doesn't... He's allowed to be a bit kind of fun. He's allowed to be a bit silly here and there, like, and try and be a bit charismatic, but I don't think there's really any kind of depth to his performance.
Whenever I watch a movie with Dolph in it, I always, which is not regular, it's normally I've just watched The Expendables, but I watch it and I go, you know what I want to watch? I want to rewatch the first Universal Soldier again. Because I remember that being just a boss-ass film. I remember that being so good when I was a kid.
It's been a while, but I used to love it. I used to think it was great.
I used to think it was so good. Dolph. You know who I don't like, Tys? I don't like Gwildor. It's a full pass. It's the poor man's Orko. They're like, we can't do Orko, so We'll do Gwildor.
I can't imagine they would do much different with it though if it was just Orko.
Well, they
you know what I mean? It would the character would be almost identical.
Sure. Yeah.
It's
just that they were going to do it. Yeah, they were going to do it, but due to budget restrictions, they couldn't do it.
See, to me, so okay, obviously Orko is what, like a ghost kind of thing? Is he a ghost?
Yeah.
But he floats around. He has no legs.
He actually has no physical face either. It's just eyes.
Oh, well, there you go.
Yeah.
If you called this guy Orko and just never mentioned it, I'd be fine.
You'd be fine with it?
I'd just be like, whatever.
Orko.
That's what Orko is in this version, you know what I mean?
Right.
I feel like they tried to cover their own butts by saying, oh no, we'll change the name to Gwildor or whatever, because it's not Orko.
Yeah.
I think they probably should have just kept it as Orko. I'm just saying.
Why fuck it up? Well, I think the reason what they wanted to do, and the toy companies were on the ball with this, if they come out with other characters, which is where Skeletor's lackeys come into it as well. If you create new characters, you get more toys. If they make more toys, we sell more toys. So Gwildor and Orko, yes, but if you make Gwildor, then people will want the Gwildor toy.
Sure.
You know, you have Beastman in there. Beastman was one of the toys, but then you've
Beastman
got
was one of the toys.
Blade and Karag, who is such a the hair one with he holds a fork or something.
He's useless.
He holds a fork.
He is utterly useless.
He's got big hair.
Yeah.
He's so shit. Anyway,
pretty interesting design, to be honest.
So weird. But yeah, you've got all these other guys, and if you make them, because they're new characters, yes, the audience aren't going to recognize them, but they'll buy the toy. That was the point.
Fair enough.
Yeah.
So then, Evelyn was a toy.
She was, but she was also she was one of the originals.
Yep.
So
obviously Skeletor,
Beastman,
the Sorceress.
Sorceress was in there. People were kind of pissed off with her look, how she wasn't. Well, that's not the Sorceress we know. I'm like, well, it's the movie version. Let's move on.
Yeah. But then, Blade. What about the lizard dude?
He had Man-at-Arms and Teela. No, he was a new dude.
Okay.
He was new.
So Man-at-Arms was kind of different.
He was different, but he was Man-at-Arms.
Yeah, but he was just Man-at-Arms. Now, Teela.
Yeah.
Was she a toy?
Yeah, totally. I had Teela.
Oh,
yeah,
interesting.
She was she had like a Cobra staff thingy that she kicked around with. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, I had Teela.
I like Teela and Man-at-Arms in this movie.
Yeah, I like them too.
Yeah, I actually like the scenes of them like just fucking around on Earth. Like when they go and get the chicken and stuff.
You like that scene?
I think it's kind of funny.
I hate that
for
scene.
one of those scenes, because they exist in all of these kind of movies.
Really do.
This one's actually not that bad.
It's as far as if you're going to do that, yes, I agree with you.
Because the way
I just feel like it's a waste of time. We're doing something else. Like
of course, they could be doing any number of different things.
Exactly.
But I like the way they freak out that it's actual meat, and Man-at-Arms is just like,
Man-at-Arms is like, don't think while you're hungry.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. You know, and it's
a
nice little touch.
They eat meat in fucking Eternia.
Well, apparently no, they don't.
Bullshit.
They don't eat meat. They just get their protein some other way.
Clearly not. Clearly it's a bar in some bar form.
We don't know.
I don't know.
It's like just a compressed bar.
A bar.
Yeah. Well, hey, they're probably technically an advanced race.
Sure.
They have giant.
They do. They have laser
hologram communication.
How good is that hologram communication?
I feel like that's the kind of thing.
Whenever that happens.
Yeah. It's the kind of thing that only exists in worlds where there is a potential, dictatorship, though. No one's just using one of those to be like, hey, everybody, everything's good.
Ladies and gentlemen, this is your broadcast for the week. Yeah. Everything is good.
Everything's fine. Carry about your business. They're 100% installed, so people can be like, people of Eternia, I am your new ruler. And everyone just goes, oh, fuck, another one. All right,
seriously?
Can we just disconnect this thing? Why don't we get rid of this thing?
Why is this thing a thing? Get rid of it.
We could just live happily and not be interrupted by these fucking holograms all the time.
I'm trying to watch fucking Survivor. Turn this shit off. That's so funny.
Yeah.
But I do love it. That's so true. It happens in all the movies. What's the name escapes me? Gun Cutter. It happens in that.
Equilibrium.
Yep. All over the place.
There's good ones in it's not exactly the same, but there's a good one in Last Starfighter.
Oh.
Where he overtakes
that. Do I still have that?
Oh, you must watch. I've been investigating a Blu-ray. There's a import Blu-ray that you can get.
I have that.
Oh,
it's
nice.
sitting over there.
Great.
I just haven't opened it up yet because I'm too busy watching other shit.
Last Starfighter is going to be so good when we do that episode. I'm going to lose my mind.
I'm scared it's not going to hold up.
It holds up. It holds up.
How do you know?
I've watched it a couple of years ago. Yeah,
right, okay.
It's beautiful. Like it holds up.
It's perfect.
It is.
It's perfect. 100%.
No.
It's Stranger Things, just better.
It's just so heartwarming and so it's so touching and yeah.
Let's do that. Let's
challenge anybody not to be
Last
moved
Starfighter,
watching Last
Monster
Starfighter.
Squad, and let's do Dark Crystal.
Ooh, that's a bit of a trio, isn't it?
What do you got, Tys? Tell me something. Tell me something.
Well,
or should I bring up something?
What else have we got? I like. Oh, let's talk about the score for a bit.
Okay, sure.
When you first hear this score,
yeah,
it's like the computer-generated version of like a John Williams score.
That's true.
It's like a computer doing its best approximation. You know how you can have like technology is amazing these days. You can have a program that listens to like every single thing by a composer and then composes something completely original in that style.
Sure.
This is like someone trying to do John Williams. And then I found out it's Bill Conti.
Who's Bill Conti?
Bill Conti wrote like the Rocky theme, did the score for Rocky. He's usually Gotta Fly Now.
Yeah.
He's Karate Kid. Did the music for Karate Kid movies. He worked with Alvarez a lot. And has been like musical director for the Oscars a lot as well. Right. Just to name a few things. And I was like, oh, Bill Conti.
Bill Conti out of nowhere.
Out of nowhere, but clearly doing his best Superman / Star Wars riff, because
it really is, especially those start credits.
Yeah, the opening theme. It's straight out of. It's like that theme that they wrote for Superboy on television.
Oh, I remember that.
And they tried really hard to be as close to Superman as possible without getting sued.
Yeah, that's so true. So true.
It's like that.
Yeah.
But to be honest, once, and maybe it was because I saw it was Conti and then I reflected back on it.
Yeah.
The rest of the score, aside from the very obvious kind of rip-off motif of the opening theme, it's a pretty great score. For an action-adventure thing, it's really theatrical and very, very, Superman Star Wars inspired. Lots of great themes, lots of big orchestral moments, and then you mix that in with the cool synth stuff. I'm loving it. Sick. I thought,
You're all over this, aren't you?
I was really enjoying the score this time around, yeah.
I do love it. There is a score moment that really sticks out when they're all captured. Courtney Cox has just been zapped, and He-Man's doing his thing, and then it's really building up a bump, and he just goes, "Stay where you are, He-Man." And he's like, "What?" And it just stops. I'm like, God, that was nice.
Yeah.
Very rarely do films pull off what you just did, and you did it quite well.
The score cue that leads directly into "I have the power" is fucking brilliant. It's so good. I got real excited watching that moment.
Really?
I got chills. Because there's the bit where he's trying to grab the sword and the lightning's kind of stinging him, and then the score's building up, and he just... It's pretty great.
All right. I do love that bit, but I have qualms that I have the power doesn't do anything, Tyson. Why does he do that?
It's a good point.
It doesn't do anything. And that was the major gripe of everyone in the doco. They were like, "What happened just then? What the fuck just happened?"
Obviously, it happens when he used to transform from Adam
yep.
into He-Man. He would say, "I have the power."
Yep.
Yeah, they should have done something.
What happened?
They should have given him
all of his whiplash scars
healed. Yeah, maybe something.
Now
like that.
I'm at 100%.
Yeah.
Let's go.
Yeah.
That would have been intense. Have a little Wolverine moment.
Yeah.
We're back on track. Let's go.
Yeah. And maybe
do something.
Yeah. Maybe you could even just give him a little sparkle in his eyeballs or something, a kind of
little
lightning.
Ragnarok-y.
Yeah. Just something that shows that it's oh man, we mean business now.
We're on.
Because apparently, from what we've been meant to be told, Skeletor is now a super Skeletor.
Yeah, exactly. He's super Shredder.
He's still just an old man with a staff, kind of getting the shit kicked out of him. Really, he's not doing that great. Look, yes, you're right. It's disappointing that there is no actual payoff to that moment, but the moment itself is pretty great.
But the thing is, He-Man, everyone knows it for that moment, and nothing happened. Anyway, Tyson.
Yes.
Kevin and Julie. They suck.
Oh
no, pass. Full pass.
Okay.
It's a very small pass. I will give Julie, Courtney Cox, some comeuppance.
Yeah.
She's not bad. She hangs in there. Comeuppance. I love it. She hangs in there. I like her in the scene where she does. It's not a great thing to do, but if you can pull it off well, the damsel in distress running from the thugs into the junkyard. I think she does all that scene really well.
Yeah, sure.
And even He-Man giving her a laser gun and go, protect yourself.
Yeah.
And she stands up and goes, no, boom, and like shoots the dudes. And I'm like, yeah, that's awesome. Kick in the ass. Go for it. But yeah, I just don't care for her storyline about her parents and her leaving town and blah, 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 blah. Get me back to Eternia. Where is Battle Cat?
Yes. Okay. I understand. I understand your gripes. I think, I don't know. It's not so much that I can defend it.
Sure.
It's just that I don't find it as irritating. Yeah, I actually kind of just am along for the ride with these guys.
Hey,
I think
I'm in there. He shits me to tears. I would like him. I would like him to get punched by Blade, of all people.
I think he does, doesn't he?
Does he? Oh, he does. He gets fucked up.
He gets
choked
real
in the neck.
blood nose.
Boom.
Yeah.
Beastman takes him on.
That's it. It's Beastman fucks him up. Yeah, like I don't hate him because I feel like they never. It's not like they just introduce them and then they're just around and keep getting in the way.
Yeah.
Like they actually contribute to the narrative pretty strongly.
But they are the narrative, and that's the thing. I don't want them to be. I want them to. I want He-Man and his lackeys to be.
I understand, of course. I think this movie still exists to a degree without them because really you could set this on Earth still doing what we're doing, and we could still have the plot. We could still have the finding the key, trying to get back to Eternia, all that kind of stuff.
Yeah.
So it's not like they are integral to it, but they also don't hinder it, I don't think.
Sure.
It could be a lot worse, is what I'm saying. You're right, it could be better, but it could be a lot worse.
Okay.
And plus, I actually really enjoy Strickland as well. As the police chief.
His name is just Strickland.
It's
Strickland. Look at Strickland. It's the guy who runs Top Gun.
Yes. Yeah. I like him. I think he's great.
I always love him.
He gets.
I had more fun with him this time than I ever had.
Oh, sure.
Because watching him now as an adult, I'm like, you're just hilarious.
Yeah, he is.
You're just
quite
so
funny.
I'm like, you just take this kid. All right, well, let's go. Come on, man, tough guy, and he just takes him like, this is not legal.
Yeah.
What are you doing?
It's so typical, like movies detective, where it's just like, drinking coffee all day. Wearing big coats, swearing at everybody, hating your life.
Smoking cigarettes. And I love how he yells across the car, keep the coffee hot. It's going to be a long night.
Exactly.
And like, that is a beautiful piece of cliche writing right there.
That's wonderful.
I love it.
It's wonderful.
So good. Made me smile.
Why does he hang around at the end?
I don't
Because he's going to get laid?
Oh, that bit I have major gripes. I even had gripes.
So weird.
So when I was a kid and I watched this, when Strickland gets to stick around and he goes, so Strickland, you're going to stick around? He goes, yeah, why wouldn't I? Why would I leave? I've got a castle. And in my head, I'm like, not yours, not your castle. No. You don't get this castle.
Did they give him one? Did he get like a different one?
No, I don't think he gets anything. I think he's just there. I'm like, well, should we take Strickland back? Well, it's going to be awkward if we take Strickland. In my head, I'm thinking...
Strickland's just hanging out. And
exactly.
He's like, and He-Man's like, oh, how are we going to get rid of this fucking dude now?
Yeah, Sorceress is like, are you going to leave?
Yeah, that's my seat.
The party's done. Like, it's 3 in the morning. Are you going to go home?
Yeah, we'd really appreciate it if you left
you just
with
poured
the other
that,
humans.
You just poured that drink, didn't you?
Yeah.
Okay.
Oh, you poured yourself another drink, did you?
Yeah.
Oh, it's getting real late. I'm thinking about calling it in.
Look, I'm going to... Oh, yeah, sure.
But no, he's got his toga on and some random blonde slave or something that he's just like, hey, you hang out with me. I'm like, oh, God.
Oh, jeez, okay.
He's gotten real weird.
You're a bit rough. Okay, sure. It's awful.
It is awful. He should go home with them.
He should. But I think it's awkward if they go home and then there's him. Like, it has to be because she goes, no, wait, go back before my parents.
Oh, if he's just hanging out there.
And he's just he's like a third wheel, like, hey guys, come on.
Could you imagine? He gets home and he's like, so in the 6 weeks that we lost,
what happened? What the?
I had some pretty good stuff happen to me, and if that doesn't happen again, you guys, I'm going to be real fucking mad at you. Could you imagine? I met somebody.
She was lovely.
She was lovely. That better happen again. I'm telling you right now. If we've fucked with any kind of time,
anyone,
you're in big trouble.
No?
I'm glad you got your parents back.
Of course, that's great for you. But hey, not only did I get a promotion and a raise, but I found the love of my life.
Yeah, I didn't even want to be hanging out with you, motherfuckers.
You guys made my life awful.
Exactly.
I want to see that movie. I want timelines. I want different timelines in all films.
So, hang on. How long ago did the parents die?
Are we really doing the math on this?
Yeah, I want to know. Was it 6 months?
I have no idea. I don't remember.
It's a long time to go back in time. and relive, don't you think?
6 months? No, I'd do 6 months easy right now. Especially because I know it would help me a lot, especially because I've had a son. A lot of things that I know
Tell you
already
what,
now.
I mean, do you know what I'd be doing?
6 months, yeah? What would you be doing?
I'd be thinking about the things that I know the results of and putting so much money on them. I would be using that 6 months.
Tannen,
I would be using that.
So
I'd be like, I'd get home and be like, Mum and Dad are alive. That's amazing. I'm so excited. And then click in my head.
Off to the doggies. I'll see you later.
I'm hitting the track. I'll see you guys later.
6 months? Who's in the grand final? Yeah, cool. I'll be at TAB.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
$4,000 million.
All the money.
Yeah, basically.
I sell my car. I sell everything that I have.
Yeah.
How much cash can I bring up? Hi, how you going? Here's a suitcase.
It's
100
so
and
funny.
nothing. 101. 101. Yes, that's true. That is true.
But also, glad her parents are alive. It's very important.
It's so lame. She gets a little ball and it ends on them. And I'm like, I hate that the movie ends on them. Even though you see, I have the power in that little ball thing. What else you got? No, I'm going to save that one.
I think this movie has some really nice little touches in it.
Sure, okay.
Things that didn't always catch my eye that I'm kind of like, that's kind of fun.
Okay.
And that's actually feels like it belongs in better movies, which is why I give it a little bit more credit.
Okay, cool. Care to elaborate?
Well, a lot of it is the small production design choices. Yeah?
Yeah.
So they're not necessarily the way they would have been in the toys or in the cartoon or anything. Sorry, give me 1 second.
No, please do.
I adjust my tooth covering.
Tooth covering.
I really like the design of the neck thing. Yeah?
The neck. Yeah, I did like that.
It's one of those clever kind of practically built things where it's like, oh, we'll just put some like LED lights in it and we'll shine them upwards and we'll have it kind of swing around.
Spot on.
And that kind of stuff. And then we'll modulate his voice later in post. That stuff I'm fascinated by. I'm like, that's really clever production design choice. It's really cool. And like that makes me think there's a lot of imagination here. There's even stuff like in the performance. Like, I love it how excited's the wrong word, but no, it is excited. That how when Blade picks up the sword of Grayskull,
you don't think that's overacting?
No, he just has this because it's not even in the foreground. That one, the one at the end, the first time he gets it, he's just over in the corner, and we're not meant to focus on him.
Yeah,
but you see him, he touches it, and he's like, "Oh, this is the best thing ever." And for obviously not just because it is the sword, but because he's like a knife guy.
Yeah,
and he's
seeing Blade.
Yeah. He's seeing like the best made, most powerful sword in the world, and he gets kind of jazzed about it. Yeah. I'm like, that's cool, man. That's a nice little thought.
Yeah.
Someone put more thought into it than just, you're the bad guy. What's your thing? I don't know. Swords. Blades.
Shoes. Yeah.
What do we call him?
Blade.
I guess.
Sure. Let's call him Blade.
Sharp. Oh, that's not going to work.
That doesn't work. Call him Blade.
Yeah.
Call him Blade. Call him serrated. Pass.
No.
Full pass.
Yeah. So, you know what I mean? Like, I kind of look at this.
Okay.
The dialogue between He-Man and Man-at-Arms when they're getting kind of surrounded in the music store.
Oh, yeah, I did like that.
He's like, I don't know, but I'm kind of hungry.
Kind of hungry.
Like little kind of throwaway stuff that it's like, no, these guys have a built-in relationship. They've been around for a while. It's not all just expositional dialogue to just get this kind of...
Exactly.
It doesn't... For a movie that should feel like just a cash grab to ensure like a Transformers movie, it feels like it has more on its mind, and it's trying to at least be something. It's trying to paint three-dimensional characters. It's trying to care about its production design, despite its budget limitations.
Sure.
I think it's kind of plucky in that way, so that's maybe where my enjoyment of it comes from.
Okay, all right.
I think.
I do agree with those moments. I do love them. They're nice little nuanced pieces instead of exposition or something that we need to know, things like that. Instead, it's, no, we've done this before. You're going to learn. You're going to see them do their thing, which I like. Action sequences in this?
They're not great.
I don't mind them, though. That speed bike one with the hoverboard thing, I didn't mind that. I remember as a kid loving that. And especially, I still, which is hilarious to say, I still get tingles when Blade goes, I've been waiting a long time for this, and just starts swinging his swords against He-Man. I'm like, this scene, it could have been just them for the next 2 minutes.
I mean, that's pretty cool because,
it would have been badass.
It kind of paints a a history, which is great. You're not talking about when they're on those weird hoverboard things and it's like
man.
they don't even move when they're flying around on it.
Yeah, I love it. I love it. It looks so good. I love it. No?
I like the idea of them.
They look hokey as fuck.
They're so funny when it's like it's like someone's cut it out in cardboard and is just holding it on a stick.
Yeah, man.
It's not bad.
Bad 80s stuff.
Yeah, I like the transitional shots between him on the actual thing, cut to him clearly just standing on the back of a truck.
Yeah.
And then filming it so that you get the wind through his hair and everything.
You can see that he's like trying to hold on really badly.
Yeah,
It's like, fucking hell.
It's pretty great. I find the action sequences generally the choreography
They're a bit too quick.
It's a bit quick. I mean, the gunfight, the laser fight stuff, I think is pretty effective. I think the hand-to-hand stuff's a bit naff, but that's old school kind of 80s style, and it's fine. I'm kind of happy to see.
But when he breaks out of the cuffs, when he's back in Grayskull again, when he's getting whipped, he takes on about 20 of those foot soldiers by himself with no weapon or anything, and he's just bashing everyone. It's awesome.
These are like all-time worst shots ever. These guys. They have them fully, like, completely dead in that alleyway.
Yeah.
There's nowhere for them to go.
No shots. They literally just duck and they don't
Exactly.
get shots.
Every shot happens to hit this one cardboard, like one crate over on the far left-hand side. And I'm like, dudes, that's not even close to where you should be aiming. How do you keep hitting the crates so many times?
What kind of fucking robots are you?
They're all just got no aiming systems, clearly. They forgot to put them in.
Navigational is off here.
Yeah.
GPS. I only have one other thing.
Yeah, sure,
no,
man.
it's when Skeletor invades, when really big door, and he comes through on his massive ship thing, and they're walking onto Earth, and Skeletor rocks up on Earth. If you have a look at the street, where the fuck is everyone? It is a vacant town. I'm like, this is not happening at 3 a.m. This was just happening like
it probably
looks like
10
about
o'clock now.
8:30 maybe.
You're right.
No one around.
No, and look, I've never really thought about it, but I don't need this movie to be like a what do we do with all the civilians movie.
Yeah.
Let's just
don't worry about
focus.
it. Let's move on.
There's cops
We're
running
moving
around.
on.
There's some cops around.
Sure.
Maybe they closed down the street when they knew shit was going down.
They didn't know. It's a massive door that
One of my
opens.
favourite bits is when Skeletor in his giant mechanical floating fucking ship manages to creep up behind them without making any noise, and it's like, hey, I'm here.
Perfect.
So
perfect.
funny.
Stealth Skeletor.
Oh, God, I love
it.
that bit so much.
I love it so much.
And it's so perfect. It's like, man, that Skeletor's a real fucking piece of shit, isn't he?
Man, we're fucked. Whatever he says. Just
he's right behind me, isn't he?
He's behind me. Is he behind me? He's behind me.
It's so funny.
So good. I love it.
Oh, man. It has some ripper moments like that. It really does.
Yeah.
But overall, I have a very good time with this.
Shiro was meant to rock up in the end.
Oh.
Yep. So they wrote her in, they cast her, she was ready to go. But yeah, budget cuts, and we have to get rid of Shiro. So she was going to rock up in the end when he was tied down. And
breaking free, and we're breaking free.
Shira. Dun, 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 dun. There was all that shit going to happen.
Yeah, great.
Shira. She had a flying horse, man. She was... Can I just say...
If they can't do a battle cat, they ain't doing no flying horse. If they can't put a fucking hat on a lion for 2 shots, they're not putting wings on a horse.
Hat, man. It was a full battle helmet. What was I going to say? I will stand by The Secret of the Sword. The He-Man She-Ra movie that they made.
Oh, yeah?
I'll stand behind that. I
don't know if I've ever seen that.
Oh, so good. I have it on VHS. That's all right.
I love how you say it like it's
That's
like
right.
the most. It's like the good format.
Yeah, I have
guys. I've got it on VHS. None of this fucking 4K Blu-ray bullshit.
I'm talking about
talking
fucking.
about VHS,
You're not streaming
man.
this shit, man. I'm talking about VHS, the way it was made to be watched.
Yeah, exactly. The way movies were meant to be watched.
I'm talking about I'm talking about like an original LP pressing.
Yeah, exactly. Oh, God.
Amazing.
I miss VHS.
He-Man.
He-Man, there it
He-Man.
is. I don't think I've got much else to say about He-Man.
I got nothing.
Other than I had a good time.
And I will watch that again.
I will watch that again also.
Yep.
It's, did you see about the proposed sequel?
No.
It's meant to be kind of
Two in the
back on
bag.
Earth again.
Oh.
Yeah, but
What?
Skeletor has made Earth like a post-apocalyptic kind of vibe.
Okay.
Was meant to feature some more of the original characters.
Nice.
Albert Pion was meant to be directing it.
Okay.
Who has directed quite a few kind of movies
Straight
that
to
you would
DVD.
be aware of.
Okay.
Like he's kind of classic 80s action.
Yeah.
Some would say trash. But
Commando.
No, well, I know him best for directing Cyborg. The Van Damme
Cyborg. That's
Cyborg
right. That's
film.
right. We've talked about that.
Which, like some, he directed that 1990s Captain America. That
I love the helmet of that Captain America.
yeah,
God, it's
the
funny.
one that does that hilarious thing where he steals cars. How does he do it? No, he just jumps out of taxis instead of paying for him. He just does a runner.
Yeah, he just does a runner. Oh my God.
The classic
So
Captain
bad.
America move.
Classic Cap.
Doing a runner on
God damn
cabs.
that Cap, but I love him. Thumbs up, man.
Yeah, so good.
So funny. What else has he directed?
Like Nemesis. Do you remember the Nemesis movies?
Wow, yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
Mean Guns.
What? He's pulling...
Mean Guns is
Super Cup. The cup?
Ice-T and
The
Christopher
cup's
Lambert.
Oh.
Classic. So yeah, apparently he was meant to direct because he was working with Canon a bit, and he was going to direct the sequel to this and the Spider-Man movie.
Yeah.
For Canon, and they were going to try and do them simultaneously or back to back or something.
Yeah, like
sharing sets and
like an MCU verse, maybe.
Yeah, exactly.
Awesome.
But that didn't work out, so he made Cyborg with him instead.
That's awesome.
Which I love, Cyborg.
You do. You have mentioned it.
Yeah, I'm a
more
big
than
fan.
once before.
Big fan of Cyborg. All right, well, I think that's going to do us, Nick.
All right, well, Masters of the Universe.
What did you think at home, ladies and gentlemen? Is this is it thumbs up, thumbs down?
Thumb sideways. Is
or
it like
just a nice old-fashioned what? Sideways?
Sideways.
Yeah, man.
Yeah, man. It was mediocre.
It's like a fist bump, but with a weird awkwardly
tail
placed
coming
thumb.
out. Yeah. Let's move on.
Let's move on.
What are we doing?
Well, Nick, why don't we move on to our next segment, which is What Did You Watch This Week? You forgot, didn't you?
I was going to go to the other... I was going to cross some streams by
Not
myself.
yet, my man.
Yeah. What did you watch this week, Tyson?
Do you want me to go first?
Yeah, I want you to go first.
Okay, just let me double check my list.
I want to see what because I've watched a few things. I might save one, but I might, yeah, I think I'm going to talk about
what am
this
I going
one.
to talk about? Oh, yeah, I think I'll talk about this one. Nick,
yeah,
I rewatched for only really the maybe second or third time in my life.
Okay,
I watched 1996's That Thing You Do, directed by Tom, written and directed by Tom Hanks.
Really?
I reckon maybe it could be my second or third time of watching it in my lifetime. And I'll tell you what, this movie is near perfect. I have
Not above saying.
I have nothing bad to say about it.
No.
I love it. Absolutely love it.
Written, directed by Tom Hanks.
Tom Hanks
not only the music, but the script and directing as well.
Yeah,
some
of the songs were written by one of the guys from the band is called, I can't remember, but
the Goo Goo Dolls.
Bless the Goo Goo Dolls. No, it's he wrote Stacy's Mum.
Stacy's Mum.
I think.
It's got it going on.
Yeah.
All that I want.
I'm just going to look that up because,
Sure.
I mean, obviously, this song is so ridiculously catchy and gets played probably at least 37 times in the film.
Yeah, 100%.
And
doing that thing you do.
And I think a huge percentage of the success of this movie, it cannot be understated, is how good that song is.
Yeah, it's a rocking song.
It really
is so good. There are so many moments that I know come to my head, just crazy one-liners, mostly from Steve Zahn, that have me literally rolling in the aisles of this film. I love it, especially at the start when they're...
Fountains of Wayne was the name of the band. Sorry to interrupt.
I have never heard of that band before in my life.
Fountains of Wayne, and I'll just double check their big single to make sure it was.
But yeah, there's little moments, mostly from Steve Zahn, especially when they're starting out, like when they're doing just the rounds, that they win the best band comp or whatever. Oh, it's so funny.
It was Stacy's Mum, just to let you know.
Stacy's Mom's
has got it going on. All that I wanted and I waited for so long. Yeah, Steve Zahn is amazingly funny. I think generally it's laugh out loud hilarious at points.
Yeah.
It's really moving. Like it captures that that kind of rise excitement, the excitement of the rise of the band from nothing to superstardom really well.
Yeah.
And it doesn't, even though this is a movie of the rise and a fall, it never does that thing that a lot of these movies do where the fall is like this tragic
Yeah, I agree. But the rise isn't to the point of stratosphere either.
No.
Which is what I like as well.
Like, but it never feels, and there's never a sense of foreboding about it.
Yeah.
You know, like you watch something like The Doors, for instance, let's say. I mean, obviously we're talking very different kind of ideas here.
Yeah, man.
But you watch The Doors, and even while things are going well...
They're going bad.
Yeah, exactly. He keeps, he's dreaming about Native Americans trying to poison him and stuff. And so, there's this, it's totally foreboding.
Yeah.
Whereas this isn't. The rise is just a really good time. And yes, you can see that, Jonathan Check's character is probably going to be the cause for it to fall apart. But it's never, it's never like that real kind of like gut-wrenching devastation of the fall apart. It's just an actual, like they actually have a really good time, and when it doesn't work out, it's kind of just like, oh, well, it didn't work out.
Yeah, man.
What are you going to do?
Yeah. And that's what, and I like that it kind of ends like that. Like the fact that Tom Everett Scott's character is there for the set, and he goes, Mr. White, I'm really, really sorry. Like, and this is, the band has broken up at this point.
Yeah.
And he's like, he's like, dude, don't worry about it. No one's gone to jail.
Yeah,
like,
exactly.
This is what happens.
Tom Hanks' character in this movie, in a worse movie, would be like twirling his fake mustache.
Yeah.
In a worse movie, it's the guy from Bohemian Rhapsody that is trying to point Freddie in the wrong direction.
Oh, yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah, yeah.
That's the worst version of this movie. Like, Tom Hanks' character is so... could be so unlikable, but because it's played by Tom Hanks and it's so well written, it's written as a really... genuinely three-dimensional human being.
Yeah.
You come around and you're just like, yeah, you might be business-minded, but you actually are just a very decent human being doing their job. Like, like I really like the way at the end where it's just kind of like, see you later, man.
It's all right, man.
It's all right. We might cross paths again. No hard feelings.
Yeah.
You're gonna have to get out of the hotel though, unfortunately. Like, it's
exactly.
great.
Yeah.
Yeah, I can't say enough good things about that thing you do. I was so happy to rewatch it, and I think it needs to become like a much more regular watch for me.
So there are a couple of times, and she knows what I'm talking about. So there'll be times where Sam will just say to me, "Hey, what's going on? Do you know what's going on with this and this and this? We'll be organising something." And I'll literally jump into the Steve Zahn. "Oh, I'm not here with these fellas. I got a pig in the." And she'll go, "Can you shut the fuck up?"
So good.
I love him. I love it so much.
Yeah.
Oh God.
What did you watch, Nick?
What did I watch? Good question. Good question. Fucking Jesus Christ. Nicholas, what did you watch? Anything? Oh, Tyson. It's been a while, but I wanted to. This is only the second time, and I was like, because I saw it day one. I'm talking the remake, 2017. It. Stephen King. Have you watched it yet, Tyson?
Yeah, I haven't rewatched it since I saw it the first time.
Yeah. So this is my first rewatching.
Great.
And I was like, okay, because normally on a rewatch, things kind of settle. You go, no, you're watching this for the second time. You've seen this before.
Yes.
You kind of know what's coming up, which in my head, I'm like, oh yeah, I know what's coming up. I had no clue whatsoever. And in fact, I think this time was scarier than the last.
Yeah, I think I've had enough distance from it now where I would forget. Will have forgotten a lot of the really effective
there were moments,
scares.
and I was like, fucking hell, that is petrifying. That is not scary. That is actually petrifying.
To be quite honest, some of those are burned into my brain forever. I would not. I remember them all very clearly.
Ben Hitchcomb, run for your fucking life. So in watching this for a second time, I rate it higher. I rate it higher.
Yeah, great.
This is such a spot on perfect remake of something that was due a remake, and they did it justice tenfold.
Awesome.
The kids you are loving all the way through, and it is a director that knows what he's doing. He got the kids beforehand so that they could get to know you games and things like that.
Sure.
They had a week of getting to know each other, so they actually are friends. So when shit went down, they're like, "Oh no, you help your friend out," and kind of things like that. And I watched a bit of the making of, and they were great. Watching Bill get into character and kind of bring, no, I want to bring this because he fought very hard to get the role of Pennywise, and the little nuances and things that he brought, he wanted to test out. He made sure that he didn't talk to the kids beforehand. This movie is just a fantastic film. I can't rate this high enough. Like, I really can't. Like, it's so good. Where did it rank? Where did I put it on the ranking system? 2017. Did we do 2017 ranking best of? Was it up there for me? It must have been.
It was. I think we mentioned it as one of our favorite movies of the year.
Okay.
It definitely got a mention in our scariest movie moments of the year. We both talked about a different moment from.
Oh, did we?
It. Yeah. I found it to be, and I'm pretty much. I think I might be similar to you.
Yeah.
I think I'm going to like it more the second time through when I've had the ability to. Now that I have the ability to just watch it without having to be constantly on edge.
Yeah.
Where I can just appreciate it now and let it kind of sink in.
Yeah.
Because I enjoyed it, but I don't think I got the full experience because I was so aware of a movie was trying to scare me, and so I kept it. I like horror movies that last beyond the scare more than anything else. Yeah. So yes, horror movies can be scary the first time, and that's fine, and get it out of the way with. But then I like to revisit scary movies that.
Have a bit more underneath them,
that end up telling like it becomes about the actual experience of the narrative. So and I feel like this is what's going to happen with it is the more that I watch it, the more I'm going to enjoy it for what the story it tells.
It is the friends banding together, like they are all outcasts, and all get together and they help each other out. Like, and I was talking about it afterwards. I said to Sam, well, why are there moments in this that? Because in the original that was made in the 80s with Tim Curry, why did you get that? Did you not have that feeling as well? Like, was there not that there with the kids? Because it was for me, but that's maybe because I grew up watching it. I've watched it quite a few times, hilariously enough. And now, if I were to rewatch it again, now that I've seen this remake, I'm going to watch the kids' first half and then leave the rest.
Sure.
I'm not going to watch the adult half of the original.
Yeah, good idea.
There's no fucking point. In this one, though, I think the reason that everyone loved it and everyone got on board, which is, it was a thing that they consciously did. They set it in the 80s, whereas that one was set in the 70s. Of the kids' version of the original It. This one is
in the early 50s, I think.
Oh, was it?
Yeah.
This one was more in the 80s. So, you're getting that nostalgia kind of Stranger Things that it's bringing back to things. So, him having a Euclid's on the block poster on the back of his door to be ashamed of, everyone loved that joke, and it was so good, and it brings a little light to the darkness that is this film. But I loved it, man. This thing, it didn't matter for me whether it was set in the 80s or not. I still loved it.
Yeah, look, it's super effective. I'm still worried that it's going to be the good one.
Yeah. Well, this is the thing.
I think the second half of this story is a lot harder to tell.
Yep.
Everyone can do setup. Setup is okay. Setup is always the easiest.
Act 1
bit.
is easiest.
Yeah,
it's the payoff.
Payoff is always the most difficult thing.
Exactly.
And and especially in a story like this, whereas I do think the older story, I don't think is as strong as the younger one anyway.
I agree.
So I think their work's cut out for them, and it would, we'll always have this one. We'll always have the first one. Yeah. It's fine. But I'm crossing my fingers that they find a way to really, really bring it home strong.
And I love that this is just it's a movie that this is rarely happens, Tyson. This is not a This is not a trilogy.
Yep.
This is a movie
1 and 2.
1 and 2. Part 1 and 2, and we're done.
Yeah.
I love that. I remember my gripe with it when I first watched it.
Oh yeah.
Was the fact that there was too much CG.
Yes.
With Pennywise.
Yeah, sure.
I disagree.
It's easier to deal with now?
It's easier to deal with now because you're coming at it. I not concentrate on it as much.
Okay.
I think that's why.
Yeah, that is something that I'll be watching out for again.
I like physical effects, especially in this.
Yeah.
How can you not do them?
The thing, there are some really great ones, and there are some moments where I'm like, well, you could have done that physically, man, and I think we'd all be a lot happier. But
No, it was good to watch.
Okay.
It was good. It was passable. So yeah, It.
Great.
Definitely up there.
Hey, Nick.
Hey, Tys.
We got some mailbag. My most exciting segment to do the intro for because it's the dumbest one. Mailbag.
You don't think you like news?
News. No, I like news. That's kind of funny.
News.
So mailbag.
All right, mailbag.
We're opening up the mail.
What do you got,
bag.
fella? I didn't even know we had this.
We have some mail from friend of the podcast, Mark Clifford.
Oh, shit. What's up, Mark?
Yes.
How are you, buddy?
So,
how's your mother for turf?
Hello, Nick, my old friend. Tys, we've never met, but I'm sure we'd be friends too.
Hey.
What's up, Mark? Can we talk about the new Hellboy trailer?
Ooh.
I can't wait, personally. Me and I'm going to pronounce this incorrectly, Pereira.
Yep.
Recently watched 1 and 2 again, and we love Ron Perlman as Hellboy. A lot of people seem to be a bit pissed David Harbour has taken the reins for the reboot, but I think it's a natural transition for the franchise and a fresh start. There were talks of a Hellboy 3, which would have been awesome, but this is pretty great too. Like you said in the Back to the Future ep, the debate for remake/reboot/trilogy, I think the gap between Hellboy 2 and 3 is a little too much now, and the reboot is the way to go. Thanks, guys. Looking forward to episode 100. Lots of love from Ireland. Thanks to the email, Mark Clifford.
Thanks, Mark.
If you at home would like to be featured in our mailbag section, you can then send us an email at
NickTysonVideotape@gmail.com.
That's it.
I spell Nick, N-I-C, and Tys is T-Y-S.
That's it. And we'll read out your email
just like
live
that.
on air.
Tys.
That was like an ad. So, what do you think?
Hellboy is kind of a grey area for me. I'm neither here nor there. Like, I watched both of them, the Guillermo's one, both of them.
Yep.
And sure, I don't mind them. I do agree that Ron Perlman is one of those lightning in a bottle casting. You can't really go past him in that role. I think he's perfect for that role. But then again, what's the new guy's name? David Harbour. David Harbour. I like David Harbour.
Me too.
I like him in a lot of things.
I think you kind of hit the nail on the head. I think,
but yeah,
as much as I enjoy those two first movies, and I think there's some incredibly great stuff in them. I can't really ever say, like, I don't watch them. I can't say I've watched them more than a handful of times each.
Yeah.
And I don't have a huge, I don't have a huge drive to keep going back to them.
Yeah.
I enjoy them enough. Don't get me wrong. And I think they're both. I think I'd probably. I feel like I've rated the second one probably like an 8 or a 9 out of 10. Like, I think it was. I remember it being really, really great to watch.
Okay.
But for some reason, I don't have this drive to go back to them the way I do a lot of other comic book character movies.
Me too.
So I'm actually I feel like I'm in the same boat. I'm kind of okay with the idea of a potential reboot. Sure, I'd love to see Guillermo's third version. But maybe it is time to move in a different direction.
Yeah, I like, and especially because of what we've seen with, let's take Batman. You've seen directors from Tim Burton, Joel Schumacher, Nolan take on that, and you're getting a different take on the character each time. I think there should be more of that. Obviously, if we've got a good thing going, maybe not shake the boat just yet.
Sure,
but with Hellboy, hell yeah, let's try a different director every time. Why not?
Yeah, or because it's not the kind of film series where it's so heavily rooted in well-known history.
Yeah,
like Hellboy obviously has its very passionate fans.
Yep.
But for the regular kind of cinema goer, you could put anything in these movies, really, any story in these movies. If you walk up to the regular guy on the street and say, "Who's Hellboy's main adversary?" I reckon 9 times out of 10 people aren't going to be tell you the answer to that. Yeah. You say, who's Batman's? 9 out of 10 know that it's the Joker. So it lives in a very different kind of public awareness.
Yeah.
So for that reason as well, I think that, there probably is more strength in just saying, hey, you get a new Hellboy movie. It's got different characters in it, different actors in it. It's going to have different side characters. It's a different director. You're just going to see what happens.
Yeah.
And it has been, you're right, it's been over 10 years since Hellboy 2.
Wow, okay.
So that's a big gap. And while, yes, people are sitting there saying, I'd love to see Guillermo's third Hellboy movie, nobody's chomping at the bit the way they were for,
The Dark Knight Rises.
The Dark Knight Rises, yeah, you're right.
Yeah.
It's not that, it's not that crazy insistence. When are we getting this? When are we getting this?
Yeah.
Even something that returned after, let's say, something that returned, like Indiana Jones, for instance, which returned after a 20-year or so gap.
Ooh.
No, it wasn't quite 20 years. It was 89 to... No, it was 20 years. 2010?
I have no idea.
Did Crystal Skull come out?
Oh, yeah.
People, within those 20 years, there was constant conversation about... Are we getting another Indiana Jones?
Yeah.
Harrison Ford's getting pretty old now. Are we going to do this thing? And so there was none of that. So I think if no one's asking for it, and no one's fighting against it, the way they are for like something like Back to the Future, where it's like we were talking about, people are actively saying, "Don't make any more. Stay away from it."
Otherwise, I'll burn your house down.
Yeah, I think it's kind of up for grabs.
Yeah, I totally agree. It's not on my radar, though, either. Will I see the remake? Yeah, I'll give it a watch, definitely.
I've enjoyed the trailers. I think David Harbour looks cool. We've talked about this. There was a new trailer, which I don't know if we had a big chat about,
we didn't, no.
Which gave away quite a bit of the film plot, but I enjoyed the trailer a lot, too.
Yeah, I've seen enough. That first trailer kind of gave me enough of a taste to go, you know what, no, I'm going to give this a go. I'll give it a watch, see what happens. I didn't know it was 10 years. I did not know that.
It didn't feel like 10 years to me, but I just checked it. It was 2008 Hellboy 2.
Wow, okay.
Which, for a movie made in 2008, that movie looks incredible. That's got some really fun stuff in it.
Iron Man 1, the kickoff.
Wow.
Yeah.
God, we're old.
Don't say that. Thanks, Mark.
Yeah, thanks for your email, Mark. We absolutely appreciate it. I hope we answered that.
Some of the question, yeah.
Yeah, we did. We answered it. Totally. And as far as episode 100 goes, we've got no idea what we're doing yet. You'll know as soon as we do.
Exactly. Well, hey, give us some ideas.
If anyone's got any ideas of what they'd like to hear on our 100th episode,
top 100 films.
We'll just read them out.
And every this is my 90th, this is my 80th, this is my 70th. We talk about it a bit. We're not doing that.
No, because we don't have 17 hours to do a podcast in.
Jeez. And I don't have 100 films. I don't think I have 100 films.
I don't think I've watched 100 films.
That is not true.
That's what people...
You've watched Fast 8 in more times than I
haven't seen Fast 8 yet.
Fast 8!
Do you know what's killing me? Is that they're about to show Furious 7, or whatever it's called, on free-to-air television.
Free-to-air!
And it still has not... I have not watched it because I'm waiting for it to pop up on some kind of streaming service.
Rock!
Yet, people watching fucking 9 now will see Furious 7 before me, even though I was like waiting for it to pop up on a streaming thing.
Chronicles of Riddick!
I love the Chronicles of Riddick. I still cannot watch Furious 7. I have 3 streaming services that I pay for in Australia. 3! And not one of them will let me watch Furious 7, yet I could watch it on 9 Go. What's that all about? Anyway. So ridiculous. I can watch Fate of the Furious. I just can't watch Furious 7. What is wrong with this world? And I don't want to watch Fate of the Furious before I've seen Furious 7.
No, you don't. You can't do that. You can't do that.
I don't understand.
Don't do that.
I don't understand. Hey, Nick.
Tys, hang on, wait.
Oh.
Do you know what I decided after watching it?
What?
I think I'm going to read it. I know I said this. I said this already. Did I say this already
Maybe.
too? I'm going to... I feel like... Damn it.
Get the book and tape.
No, I want to read it, man. I want pages. No, baby, I want pages.
Read along.
Who reads it? Oh, who reads it?
I
Is
think
it Stephen Fry? Is it Stephen Fry?
No, Stephen Fry doesn't do. Will Patton does a lot of Stephen King stuff, so I wonder if it's him.
Okay.
Hang on.
Will Patton, as in Gone in 60 Seconds. Will Patton.
Yeah.
Fuck, really?
I'll just double check if he reads.
Oh my god! I would totally listen to that shit. Sorry, audience, that my voice went really
it could be it might actually be Steven Weber, who
I don't know him.
Yeah, it is Steven Weber. Steven Weber played Jack Torrance in the made-for-TV Shining. Do you remember him?
No.
So he's done a few Stephen King things.
Okay.
And so
But I've decided, it's my second Stephen King novel that I'm going to read, and it's going to be it.
Nice one.
Yeah.
Hey, Nick.
Hey, Tys.
It's time that we did some... I just went for a nice, normal falsetto note then. I didn't try for anything ridiculous. And I think, do you know what? I think it worked a treat because you cover the craziness and I just put out a nice, solid, true-pitched note.
Thank you kindly for that. Lovely.
Nick, I don't have mine yet.
Yeah, that's cool. I am going to... I've already spoken about it already. I'm going to tell people, and especially my good friend across the table, Tyson.
No, that'll be me.
That'll be him. To get onto Netflix, and you're going to look up The Power of Grayskull. If you do... if you're a fan of He-Man, if you are in the age bracket that remembers He-Man, if you watch the cartoon, if you had the blanket, the lunchbox, the Castle Grayskull, give it a watch. This is I like it because it's a bit more in-depth. It gives you blow by blow of what happens. There's a bit of controversy as to, well, who was the inventor? Because there's kind of 5 guys who all say that they invented it. And there's one guy that did the art, concept art for the actual figures. There's a guy that wrote the backstory because the toy came with comics.
Right.
Because the people were like, well, how are kids going to know who He-Man is? And they're like, well, don't you know it comes with a comic, which they made up on the fly.
Great.
And they wrote this comic, and there was this one guy who made all the lore. Now, back then, the comic was Conan the Barbarian. I'm not saying that it was Conan. I'm saying that this wasn't for kids. Like, he was lobbing heads off and shit. He-Man was a badass. And Prince Adam didn't exist. So when that came around, and there were 2 other guys who actually made He-Man, so all of these guys are jumping a bit. So there's not that nice little, you get a nice little doco, and then it's the He-Man goes to the stratosphere with how popular he is, and then it's just a saturation of the market to the point where they're like, what the fuck are we doing?
Yeah.
And then, you get little blow-by-blows of them. So when He-Man, what we know as He-Man, died out, they've tried to revamp it 3 times with different He-Man.
Really?
Yeah. There was like a space He-Man. He-Man went to space.
Nice.
There was another 2 He-Man after that everyone was like, what
it's the golden rule.
Fuck is
Every
this shit?
franchise eventually ends up in space.
In space. Yeah.
Golden rule of franchises.
God damn. So Power of Grayskull. Give it a watch.
Awesome. What's that on?
It's on Netflix.
Great. Just on Netflix. Perfect.
Perfect.
I'm also recommending a documentary.
Oh, nice.
We're going very intelligent tonight, Nicholas.
Yeah.
Aren't we very smart?
Yes.
I am actually going to recommend a documentary that's on Prime Video at the moment.
Oh, yeah.
You can also rent it on, your standard ones it's on special actually on Google Play for just $1.99 at the moment if you're feeling like you want to give it a run.
What do you got?
I will also recommend the Umbrella Blu-ray.
Oh, you're talking about what the doco is? Yep.
Yeah.
Sorry.
So Umbrella Entertainment, the Australian distribution company, have a really great Blu-ray with tons of special features. I'm talking about Electric Boogaloo, which is the wild untold story of Canon Films from 2014.
So you have to rent this thing?
No, it's on Prime Video.
Prime Video, right.
Or it's cheap to rent, or you can buy this really great Blu-ray package, which I have at home.
Yeah.
It is a really excellent documentary about the rise and fall of this crazy, crazy, beautiful production company from the 80s that were responsible for so many of our favorite genre films, and the wild kind of no rules approach that they took to filmmaking. They really kind of
which you don't have
just
anymore.
threw shit at the wall and just hoped that something happened. And this doco kind of goes into the nitty-gritty of how they just got away with some of the shit they got away with, because really there was no way this thing was going to last. The fact that they got maybe 10 years worth of movies out of them, it's pretty amazing. That's really awesome. And once you actually watch the doco, you'll see why, because there's just some absolute bonkers shit going on. Nice. Not only that, you find that these two producers, the Golan and Globus, Mannerheim Golan and Yoram Globus, they're just such strange people, and
really?
But you end up kind of endeared to them because they have this kind of I don't know. It kind of reminds me of people like Roger Corman and stuff like that. Just the way that they approached filmmaking in this kind of no, we're just going to get it done. Or what's the guy from the Troma guy? What's Kaufman, Lloyd Kaufman?
Yeah.
Like that kind of mentality where it was just kind of hey man, we can just make movies. We'll just figure it out. And they somehow managed to kind of get people like Chuck Norris, Van Damme, Dolph Lundgren, these big stars of the time. Even Stallone. Stallone did some work with them as well.
Yeah.
Involved with their kind of dodgy underground company that would sell movies based on a title at film festivals and stuff like that. Right. Some of the stuff they got away with. They would literally buy a full page ad in magazines, just with the title of a movie and a release date.
That's it.
And they would sell the movie based on that, and then go write the movie. They'd say, all right, well, we better write this now.
Jesus,
stuff. It's
skin of the
amazing
teeth,
what they would get away with.
Fuck?
So yeah, I can't recommend this enough because your jaw will be on the floor with some of the shit they got away with, and it's super, super entertaining. And you get a lot of talking heads from people that, if you're 80s action movie fans, you'll recognize everybody.
Nice.
So that's just on Amazon Prime Video. Electric Boogaloo.
Electric Boogaloo.
That's it. Hey, Nicholas, next week.
Hey, Tys.
So next week we're doing, it's going to be a fun episode. We're actually doing a combined kind of, so we've got 2 segments that we like.
Yep.
We have our segments, which is, it's on our list. Films that we should have seen by now, but somehow slipped through the crack.
Yep.
We also have our by request. So when people have emailed us to say, hey, we want you to do a certain movie.
We're going to do that.
we will do that for you. And we've got a couple of requests on the back burner. We promised we will get to those, of course.
We will.
But we thought we'd combine these two because the request that came through for a movie that neither of us have seen.
No.
And we've had a lot of success
Which is hilarious.
with these kinds of movies.
We
Nick.
have.
We get a lot of downloads for these kind of movies.
That's because no one does movies like this.
Maybe. So we're talking... I don't even know what year it's from. So this is an It's On Our List / by request episode. And we're going to be talking about, from the year...
The Bette Midler driven...
Bette Midler and Barbara Hershey. Is it Barbara Hershey?
I have no idea.
1988. 1988 is Barbara Hershey. We're talking about Beaches, Nick.
Beaches, Tys.
An absolute classic for so many people that I know. The kind of movie that everyone says, hey, what movie makes you cry? Oh, Beaches, obviously.
Really?
And I just kind of sit there and go, okay, sure.
Okay, sure, Beaches.
Beaches it is then.
Yeah.
So we'll be watching and discussing Beaches, Nicholas.
Bond, Back to the Future, Masters of the Universe, Beaches.
We nearly had the triple Bs. What are we doing?
What are we doing? Come on.
Bond, Back to the Future, and Beaches. We missed that opportunity. We could have had the month of triple B. God, what are we thinking?
We're not doing well.
Next week, Nick, it's going to be a lot of fun.
Beaches, man.
Yeah,
Wind Beneath My Wings. Is that what this came from? Wind Beneath My Wings?
Yeah.
Yeah? Okay.
Yeah, absolutely. So before we go, Nick, do you want to tell people again where they can find us?
Oh, sure. Thanks for joining in, ladies and gentlemen. My name is Nick. That's my friend Tys.
Hey, what's up?
We do a podcast every week. If you would like to join in on the fun, please rate, review, subscribe, like, all of those things. Share us around because it really makes our day and it gets us out there a lot more. Because, as far as movie podcasts go, there are a plentiful. And we thank you for joining us. Other than that, please join us on every social media thing that you can think of. Apart from Snapchat, we're too old for that shit. We are on Facebook, we are on Twitter, we are on Instagram. We do post different content on each of the
we got
outlets.
lots of fun stuff.
But other than that, we're on YouTube, and we are. You can write to us, which is what Ty said, and which is what Mark Clifford did. Hey, Mark.
Hey, Mark. What's up? Thanks for you.
We are at nickTysonVideotape@gmail.com.
We are indeed.
So yeah.
Well, that's going to wrap us up, Nick.
Tyson, that was fun.
I'll see you next week, buddy.
I have the power! It didn't do anything. It did nothing. Okay, cool. Bye, Tys.
Bye, Nick.